Hello and welcome. Now, as we enter the fourth day of the lockdown and about a month into the time when the coronavirus has seriously manifested its presence in India, is a good time to ask where exactly we stand with the disease. And we are hoping to try and tell you that story about the journey of COVID in India through a series of 11 charts. So let's just look at the outset at the chart of where the numbers stand at the moment. And as you can see, they've steadily been going up through the month of March and have come and settled at 691 as of today. Again, we have to clarify these are figures by ICMR, not the Health Ministry. There is some disconnect between the figures. The Health Ministry figure is likely to be higher, but it's somewhere hovering close now to the 700 plus mark in India in this period. Now, the rate of increase is very important, and if you actually look at it, what we have seen is from the first week when things were still, the numbers were still low, from week 2, the cases have doubled from 47 to 110. And then in week 3, the cases have almost tripled from 126 to 341. And in week 4, which we're in the middle of, we've not fully completed it, the number has gone up from 415 close to the 700 mark. And if you look at why, then we put up the chart of the daily growth of the coronavirus in India. And if you really look at it, then you'll see that till about the first 2.5 weeks of March, it was hovering somewhere in the range of 20 to 30. It wasn't going above that. But in the past 7 days, it's been steadily increasing every day, adding anywhere between 60 to 70, perhaps even getting close to 80 cases a day. Now, overall, some would say that India is still in a better position compared to the rest of the world because the numbers are still very small. It's 700 compared to the thousands that we're seeing in Europe and America. But the question is India not testing enough? India has increased its testing somewhat. So the tests have doubled in the course of a week. March 20th, we had tested about 13,000 samples. Now that's increased to about 26,000 samples. India has also increased testing centers. It's increased testing centers from 112 now government labs, added on 35 private labs. India has also expanded testing protocol. More categories of exposed individuals now are being tested than earlier. India has also ordered 5 lakh rapid test kits. So not just the older kits, which were slightly slower, supposed to be more conservative, more precise, but now 5 lakh rapid test kits have also been ordered. But overall, India is still testing much lower than most countries in the world. If you look at the question of India in terms of tests per million, then just look at that. Bahrain is somewhere close to 11,000, Norway 8,000, South Korea 6,000. Coming all the way to India is only testing at 10.5 per million. Again, remember, these are figures up to March 20th. Those figures would have changed. India would have gone up a little bit. Germany is testing like anything. They're doing about 500,000 tests a week, so they're probably way up now. But India's figures would still remain low. Now, this is important because as you test more, the percentage of those that are found positive is higher. So when we were testing at a lower number, March 20th, about 1.5% of everyone tested was positive. Now, March 27th, as we've doubled the testing, it's almost, not quite doubled, but it's increased significantly the number, the percentage of those who have tested positive. Now, again, if you look at it worldwide and you look at the numbers, you'll find that India is still low in terms of the percentage of those tested testing positive. In Italy, that rate is 23%, almost 17% in Austria, 13% in the US, 10% in the UK, and just 2.4% in India. But that's still because, as we said, India is still testing much less than other countries. And of course, that's become the subject of much debate. In terms of how the disease has actually spread in India, we're actually going to go to the website of a COVID tracker website. Now, this is a crowdsourced website which has been tracking data and they're using data from a range of sources. And if you look at it, the journey of COVID has expanded now. It's touched almost every state in India. But the largest number of cases, close to almost 50%, if not more, are just coming from a cluster of 3 to 4 states. Kerala and Maharashtra remain very, very high. Karnataka, Telangana also catching up. But it's these states, 3 states in the south and 1 in the west, where most of the infections, the positives, are coming from. Joining us on the news tonight to try and decode the story of the coronavirus in India and what this means from where we stand. We have with us Dr. J.P. Mulyal. He's ex-principal CMC Vellore, and he's one of the best-known, finest epidemiologists, basically doctors, scientists who track disease in India. Thank you very much for being with us. It's great to have you. We have Debashri Ray, who's from the Department of Epidemiology and Biostatistics at the Johns Hopkins University, and also Dr. T.P. Lahane, who's Director, Medical Education and Research, Maharashtra, Government of Maharashtra. Maharashtra, of course, is one of our corona hotspots. Dr. Mulyal, just looking now at the numbers and looking at also the lockdown, where do you now see the journey of the coronavirus in India? Are there any signs or indications that things could be getting better or worse, or is it just we're at too much of a crucial juncture to say either way?
Well, we don't expect anything to change during the first week or after the lockdown.
Okay.
If something happened, then I would call it fraud, because this week's cases are last week's infection.
Right.
So you have to, I'm grateful that the trend is maintained. If some impact will occur, it will occur, and we can notice it during the third week. Until then, we need to be patient in terms of understanding whether the message has got across the nation in terms of keeping distance, washing hands, etc., etc. So and that is very important.
Okay. Yeah. So you're saying that if at all there is going to be some impact, it will only be visible in the third week. When you say impact, you're saying that on the positive side, that impact could be that we might start seeing a reduction.
At the trajectory of the curve will slightly falter. Not for a big extent, a slight faltering or flattening of the curve.
Okay.
That's what we are hoping to see. If it doesn't occur, that doesn't mean much. India is a large country, remember. Okay? We'll be lucky if we get it. That will renew our trust in ourselves and our effort.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to go on. But that's a different story. But I am happy the first week did not show any market fall. It would have been disaster then.
I see. I just explain that before I move on. That's interesting. You're actually happy that there has been no fall. Why? Because you think that would then mislead people into thinking that the lockdown is unnecessary.
That's the only way you can have that fall in the first week is using fraudulent data.
Right.
So I like to trust the data a bit more when I see this is still there.
Okay. But before I move on, I want to ask you, though, about overall the numbers, which, we still find, again, mercifully, are not very high for India compared to the rest of the world, which some say is because we're not testing enough. Where do you stand on that?
Mr. Jain, you very nicely pointed out the increase across the dates. You see what the problem comes of it. You are showing a constant rate of increase. And that is a sign of an exponential curve. And that means we are in an impending disaster. That curve is what we are fighting against. If this goes on, we lose control. So don't get complacent on the fact the actual numbers are low.
Right.
That is dangerous.
Okay.
The curve tells you we are already on the path of explosive epidemic.
Gosh, that is concerning. Debashri Ray, do you agree with Dr. Mulyal's assessment? Because remember that the Indian Council of Medical Research and the Health Ministry continue to insist that we have still not reached what is called community spread, which means that it is now no longer spreading between people who have been exposed to it primarily or secondarily, but it's now just passing on to people without knowing where it's coming from. Have we reached that point or have we not reached that point?
So, if I have to, look at the data, I think the key takeaway message is, as Dr. Mulyal pointed out, that we are already seeing this exponential increase, right? And so, at this point of time, this lockdown was necessary. And what this lockdown does is it buys us time, to, ramp up testing. Because without testing, you wouldn't know how many people are actually infected in the population, right? And so the more you test, the more you can figure out those infected cases and you can isolate them.
Okay, how much, as we pointed out, India is still testing somewhere in the range of between 50 to 20 per million population. How much more should India be testing?
So if I have to look at, other countries, two model countries, right, in the sense that South Korea did 12,000 to 15,000 tests per day.
Right.
And so right now, at least as of, today's morning, I saw in the Indian Council of Medical Research website that India has conducted around 28,000 tests, right? So it's not nearly as close as what South Korea did. So we need to ramp up. Now, there is no, magic number to say, if we did this, then this would be good.
But we just need to be doing much more.
Yes, but there is another point that I would like to add.
Can I come back to you for that other point, because I have to quickly go around the panel.
Sure.
Dr. Lahane, Director Medical Education, Maharashtra, from your point of view of being a sort of a medical functionary in one of the hotspot states, how do you see it? Do you see us still being in a situation where we're able to control it, or as Dr. Mulyal is indicating, we are on the brink of explosive growth?
I think I listened both of them.
Yes. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Who are the epidemiologists and what they are telling. So what they are telling is exponential growth may happen in India, and what we are testing is less. But the thing, if you see properly, is that what we are testing is the people who came from outside or the contact we are testing. And after that also the what we are getting the positive cases is 2.4. And in other country, if you see, they are testing the common man, and there the percentage coming 10% or like that. That itself suggests if the contacts and people came from outside are not coming more positive, then how we can say that it has gone to the public? Yes, it will definitely go to the public. But whatever the lockdown is there, and what I feel is this lockdown will definitely work.
The lockdown will work. But Satyendra Jain, Health Minister of Delhi, is with us. And as I come to you, Satyendra ji, I just want to play the video about whether this lockdown is working or not. And this is latest video of migrants from Uttar Pradesh. Basically, they're all settled in Delhi.
Video.
Migrants are going back towards Uttar Pradesh. We've been tracking the story for days. We've seen people go in norths of 10, 15, but nothing like this. This is thousands and thousands of people who are traveling back to their, their homes and villages. Satyendra ji, I know that the Delhi government is doing as much as it can. You have, food centers for them and all of that, but this is now out of control. Does this suggest that this lockdown was not thought through properly?
देखिएगा, मैं तो आपसे आपके माध्यम से एक ही बात कहना चाहूँगा, जो लोग भी दिल्ली छोड़ के जा रहे हैं उनसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप कहीं मत जाइएगा। दिल्ली में आपके लिए, अगर आपका घर है तो अपने घर में रहिए, खाने का इंतजाम हम करेंगे, दिल्ली सरकार करेगी। अगर रहने की जगह भी नहीं है तो हम रहने का इंतजाम भी करेंगे। दिल्ली के अंदर 225 रैन बसेरे अभी चल रहे हैं, उसके अंदर हम रह सकते हैं जाके आप। 10 हमने नए और स्टार्ट किए हैं, अगर जरूरत होगी तो हम नए सरकारी बिल्डिंगों को लेकर हम और भी स्टार्ट करेंगे। सबसे पहली चीज है कि आपको ये नहीं जाना चाहिए, ये बीमारी फैल सकती है। इसको लॉकडाउन करने का मकसद ही है कि जो इंसान जहां पर है वो वहीं रहे। अभी देखिएगा, इन्फेक्शन और बीमारी जो है अलग अलग है, आप इन्फेक्टेड हो सकते हैं।
नहीं, सत्येंद्र जी आपकी बात सही है, लेकिन जैसे आप जानते हैं ये जो दिहाड़ी के मजदूर हैं, रिक्शे वाले हैं, ठेले वाले हैं, एक दिन भी अगर इनको अपनी रोजी रोटी नहीं मिलती है, ये क्या करेंगे? ये तो उठ के चले जाएंगे वापस। तो वो प्रावधान जब लॉकडाउन किया गया था, अगर उसी वक्त उन्हें उपलब्ध होती तो शायद वो वहीं के वहीं रह जाते, लेकिन अब कैसे इन्हें रोकेंगे?
मैं ये देखना, देखो इनको, कुछ लोगों को ऐसा लग रहा है कि शायद खाना नहीं मिलेगा। खाने के लिए दिल्ली सरकार ने ऑलरेडी 225 जगह पर खाना खिला रहे थे हम कल तक। आज हमने 300 जगह और जोड़ दी हैं, 500 से ज्यादा जगह पर हम खाना खिला रहे हैं। कल तक हम 20 से 25 हजार लोगों को खाना खिला रहे थे, आज हमने 2.25 लाख लोगों को, 2 लाख से भी ज्यादा लोगों को खाना खिलाया है। कल से हम 4 लाख लोगों का इंतजाम कर रहे हैं। तो दिल्ली के अंदर सुबह और शाम दोनों टाइम का खाना आपको मिलेगा, इस बात की हम गारंटी ले रहे हैं। लोगों को लग सकता है कि हो सकता है खाना ना मिले, उनको लगता है चलो गांव ही चलते हैं, गांव में शायद घर में रह लेंगे जाकर
जी।
परंतु मैं कहना चाहता हूँ रहने का इंतजाम भी हम करेंगे आपके लिए, आप वापस आ जाइएगा जहां पर भी है, और रहने के साथ साथ खाने का इंतजाम भी हम करेंगे। मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि देखो
आपके एफर्ट्स पे मैं सवाल नहीं उठा रहा हूं, आप अपना आई थिंक जितना हद तक कर सकते हैं आप कर रहे हैं, बाकी प्रदेश सरकारें भी कर रही हैं, लेकिन संख्या इतनी ज्यादा है, आप जानते हैं जो लोग आ चुके हैं, जो रहते हैं दिल्ली और शहरों में, खासकर उत्तर भारतीय लोग, संख्या इतनी ज्यादा है, कैसे उन सबको एक प्रदेश सरकार हैंडल कर पाएगी? आई थिंक दिस इज अ बिग चैलेंज। डॉक्टर राजेश पारेख, मैं आता हूं आपके पास।
आपके कहना चाहता हूं
जी,
दिल्ली के अंदर जितने भी लोग हैं ना, दिल्ली से बाहर जाने की जरूरत नहीं। अगर 1 लाख लोग भी होंगे, 1 लाख लोगों का इंतजाम भी हम करेंगे, इस बात की आप चिंता मत कीजिए।
अच्छा, डॉक्टर राजेश पारेख, डायरेक्टर मेडिकल रिसर्च, जसलोक हॉस्पिटल मुंबई, co-author the coronavirus, what you need to know about the global pandemic. Thank you also for being on the show. This aspect of the quote-unquote lockdown in India, Dr. Parekh, is something which has turned out to be an X factor, that far from actually locking people down, it's dislocated the poor, understandably so, because they've lost their jobs. They will want to migrate towards where they can get some food and shelter, which are essentially their homes. What sort of challenge is this now going to pose in terms of being able to control the disease?
Well, there have always been monumental challenges from day one. Some of these have been surmounted. Some of them continue to get accentuated. And of course, there are going to be new challenges along the way. But if we work resolutely,
yes.
If not able to master all of these challenges, we'll at least be able to cope with them. So, for example, yes, when we look at the poor, and that's the vast majority of our nation,
yes,
they are doubly affected. You know, keep in mind, this is a very ruthless, a very cruel virus which attacks the most vulnerable people the most, people who are poor, people who are elderly, people who are diseased and whose immunity has been compromised.
Right.
And all these circles intersect where the poor are.
Right.
They live in crowded localities. They cannot have the luxury of social distance that we discuss on television talk shows, so they're affected there. And then when we take measures, which are of course needed, I mean, what is the alternative? We might say, okay, the lockdown is having this problem, but do we have another option? And when we take these measures, then of course they get hit by our measures.
No, of course.
The disease and our treatment affect them both.
No, I know. I think the whole point was that the lockdown may have been necessary, but there should have been steps taken in advance to preempt them from feeling the need to leave their homes and where they were, and that didn't happen. That came, some would say, too late. But anyway, that ship is now sailed.
Exactly.
Dr. Mulyal, looking at that situation, I didn't get a chance to ask you the question that I put to Dr. Ray, that you think that this idea that the government keeps saying there is no community spread, you think there already is community spread?
The answer comes from identifying a case of this viral disease in the absence of a foreign contact or or a foreign troop.
Right.
Have you got it? Now it is up to the system to tell us.
Right.
Have they found that? The moment you start finding those cases,
Right.
the diagnosis is straightforward. There is community transmission.
Okay.
Period. We don't need extra testing to prove it. You see cases, and then you start moving as if there is community transmission. But let me tell you one more thing. Without community transmission starting, this whole exercise of shutdown is not worth anything.
Okay.
There is a tacit agreement that there is a community transmission when you start lockdown. So
Okay.
let's not mince words.
Okay.
We are going to agree. Okay, thank you.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, it really took someone of your seniority and experience to say that when you do a lockdown of this nature, there's a tacit understanding that means we are in that,
There is.
we're in that
That's
space
correct.
of community spread. Wow. Okay. Well, fingers crossed. But thank you all so much for being with us and for sharing your expertise. That's all the time we have on the show. Thanks for watching. Good night.